I was born with a very rare condition that they call hyperthymesia, or a highly superior autobiographical memory. It's an absolute gift, not a burden. I've been able to remember everything since the age of 3 and up. I'm currently 42 years old. I was born in 1983. I come from a well-off family, a well-off background, a well-off education. I was allowed a great structural background, not just in my family, but that of employment. I've been a table games dealer and a pit boss. I've been a security officer twice. I was a GSI operator once. I've worked in computer science. I have volunteered a lot. I help run a historical theater. I was a banquet waiter, and I even tested out my hand at being a bar back. I worked a lot of gardening and landscaping jobs, farming jobs, and even owned my own landscaping business out in California. Having hyperthymesia has allowed me to know a lot of people, see and witness interesting events, and retain multiple different types of employments willfully and not forcefully. I've lived in multiple states, including California, Nevada, Arizona, Idaho, and Washington. I used to deal cards live for the Blackjack Entry tournament on TV for the World Series of Blackjack out at the Lucky Eagle Casino, I think starting when I was 19 years old. I then moved my way over to Las Vegas, where I dealt cards and tested out dual rate pit bossing there as well at the Gold Coast Casino. I've worked in construction, microbial work. I've helped build roofs, sidings, pipings, electrical work, plumbings, insulation. I've worked at a nursery. I've worked in forestry. I've done a lot. I say this because I never calculated that myself could ever experience a loss of being able to recall memories, because I am incapable of deleting memories, and I have to remember everywhere I've been, everywhere I've worked, every school I've ever attended to, every convention, conference, meeting, so on and so forth, TV show, every thought I've ever had, every little microsecond I have to remember. So I never thought to myself that I could ever experience a loss of being able to recall anything. In January of 2018, I had been living with an old friend that I had known for about 23 years. She was a loving friend and was so kind to me. She offered me a muscle relaxer. She had never offered me a drug before in her life, and I had never taken one before. And I got very sick. Turns out that she had Alzheimer's or dementia. Her and her husband and their neighbor, who was our friend, got scared and didn't want me to go to the hospital. Instead, they wanted me to work it out of my body, and I attempted to for 2 days. I took 2 days off of work. I had 2 jobs. I was working in landscaping at the time. I had just discontinued one of my jobs working at a pallet making mill over in Girard's out in Elma, Washington. I didn't understand the drug that she had given me, and it was making me too sick, and I needed information. And so I took to Google, and in January of 2018, Google gave me directions over to a small clinic 2 blocks away that was next to a fire station and a post office. There was no sign in front. It just had this nice kind of California style open walkway and fencing. I seen a lady there smoking a cigarette. Me, appropriately dressed always, explained to her the situation and asked her if she could print out some information to help me understand how to flush this drug out of my body and what the long-term and short-term effects are. It started to rain. She invited me inside after having a cigarette with her. After entering there, they never let me leave. on my own ever again. In under 6 hours, they had me on a web camera on a computer, a broken computer. I couldn't see anything or virtually hear anything off of there. We were in a small little room. Some unknown man asked me 5 questions. He gave me 2 diagnoses. I said that's improper and illegal. I need you to call the cops, and they didn't. And in under 24 hours, they drugged me more. It took away nearly all of my eyesight and hearing. I couldn't functionally move. I became incontinent for the first time in my life. I've never pooped or peed in front of anybody before, but I let everything go then. I went into convulsions. Blood came out of my ears. And I lost 27 years of my memories. They kept me in that clinic for 5.5 months. Then they started putting me in seedy places that I would never otherwise find myself in, as in dilapidated apartments and dilapidated hotels and motels. They infantilized me. And on that day that they gave me that first drug, they started a process that took about a couple of weeks to take away my gender. I lost my gender identity. They changed my name and started calling me Love, and then Lovely. I got abused there. I have never had a drug problem in my life. I have never been an alcoholic. I don't have a hedonistic gene in me. I don't subscribe to beliefs. I only subscribe to scientific facts and the principles of facts. Prior to going there, my life was fantastic. My life was great. I smiled every single day. People loved being around me. My employment history and my record were all clean and great. I traveled a lot. I explored the West. I became a photographer, an artist, and more since I was a child. By the time I was 8 years old, I had an understanding of computer science and quantum mechanics. My family comes from the military, Boeing, and in part the entertainment industry. I have played as a background actor, I have played in commercial videos, and I've even done live magician and hip-hop street art down at the Strip in Las Vegas. And so to find out that Washington State has been infantilizing me and treating me as an 8-year-old and putting me in female clothes and taking away my gender and my vocal cords, never providing me an attorney or a judge, coercing me, grabbing me, threatening me, making me visually impaired, taking away my equilibrium, my computational understanding, my vocalities. For the first couple of years, I could barely speak, and after that, it started as a stutter. I used to be able to sing operatically, rap songs, rock songs, virtually anything, and now my vocal cords are crippled. As of June 2025, I officially started to wake up from amnesia and announce so to my Facebook live stream. Only in this past month and a half to 2 months have I come to an actual understanding of what has happened and what is going on. In the past month, my internal monologue has finally returned to me. In the past month, my sensory processing feelings have all virtually returned to me. I can nearly smell everything once again. I can hear everything once again, just without filter. And my eyesight is doing its best to repair. I can now visually see to a degree without utilizing my phone's camera. I have been physically recovering and neurologically recovering. During this kidnapping, the peer counselors and their supervisors forced me to produce art for them within the first 5.5 months that I was there at the crisis clinic in Hoquiam, Washington. They drugged me more as a result for not doing so. The medications increased from there, and by 2024, I was taking between 6 to 9 different drugs on a medical cocktail, 3 to 5 times the dosage on the bottle every single day. I crushed it up and I put it in my food. I crushed it up and I put it in my nose. I crushed it up and I put it in my energy drinks and my water and my juice packets. They kept refilling me with so much, I had garbage bags full in my closets. On average, I was taking between 8,000 to 15,000 milligrams of SSRIs, antidepressants, mood stabilizers. I have no self-inflicted wounds on me or scarring from myself. I've never hurt myself. I was forced to go everywhere that any of these peer counselors took me. I couldn't see anything. I couldn't walk. I attempted to get a cane multiple times. I used different types of eye-wearing technologies to help me with sight. I went to ear doctors to get hearing aids. I obtained hearing aids. I've never had to wear diapers since the age of 3, but throughout all of this process, from the age of 35 to this very day, I've had to wear diapers every single day. Nobody contacted my family or my friends. Nobody contacted my employments. Nobody contacted my bank. Nobody gave me a physical or blood work. Nobody took me to a hospital. The man who diagnosed me over a web camera, likely in another state or another city. I have never met the person who diagnosed me. The drugs hurt a lot. I don't come from a drug background. I come from a very clean background. I have taken care of my body. When I was 15 years old, my back was broken due to an accident, and I was a quadriplegic. I had to learn to walk again, and it takes a lot of great mental strength to do so every single day, and having those drugs in me crippled me, and I was physically unable to walk for a lot of those years. I was virtually bedridden. Nearly everywhere I've went, peer counselors had to drive me. On April 1st of 2024, they put me into the Aberdeen motel. Within the first month, I saved a group of children, and I got beaten up. The peer counselors and their agency realized that they made another mistake in a place that they had placed me. Prior to that one, they placed me in an apartment where I was physically assaulted and sexually assaulted for 6 years. So they put me on a missed wraparound program and got together with a bunch of other agencies. Columbia Wellness, BHR, the Harps Funding Program, Coastal Community Action Program, Northwest Heritage and Funding out in Vancouver, and Home and Community Services at DSHS. They understood that all the hard work that I had put in and calling them daily to inform them, or when they would call me daily to ask for updates of my business, all of my posting, the commercials that I made, my progress. And they understood that a year prior to that, I also saved another lady while volunteering at Positive Grace Harbor, where I used to volunteer 8 hours a day, 7 days a week, for a little over a year. And so they gave me an opportunity to move anywhere where I wanted to. I had informed them that I want to go to Seattle, Bellevue, Bellingham, or Olympia. I informed them that I wanted to be around other transgender females so I could understand what they are. We made safety plans and arrangements to go to Seattle. We spent about 6 to 8 months arranging to go to Seattle. During that time, I integrated a bunch of businesses with my business, including Safeway, the Petland Cemetery, Paws of Grace Harbor, the Art Gallery out in Aberdeen, Washington, the Green Room, and more. There's virtually no business that I didn't touch and integrate with out in Aberdeen and Hoquiam. I had achieved a little over 250,000 followers. People were recognizing me on the bus and at grocery stores and asking me for autographs and interviews and collaborations. I was getting a lot of sweet deals, including free food and amenities. And I was building up resources during that time that they put me in the Aberdeen motel. I was very proud of myself and all the hard work that I had achieved. In fact, people were driving across the state and from other states to come out to meet me. It was actually quite scary. I had achieved celebrity status, yet I'm, by all technicalities, still a kidnap victim. I did my best to utilize that social media and businesses, or business to draw attention to my kidnapping. It became my main business, not art. I eventually took to art and animation and live demonstrations and eventually taught others within digital classroom settings. I even gave out certificates to others and letting them know that I am not accredited and this is just from me to you through our teaching, and I would teach people for free. I would have classrooms up to about 25 different people, and I started doing this in late of 2022 when I got my first tablet and I relearned how to digitally draw all over again. I was still living in singular thought. The state of Washington had me broken down to an 8-year-old. I could barely speak, and I utilized Discord and Reddit and other live streaming services to be able to talk to others in other countries to build my phonetics and understanding of my own language. I relearned computer science and more. Yet during all of this process of learning computer science, sign language, other languages, art, animations, running a business, and even selling products, being monetized, being a secret shopper, doing over 12,000 surveys, the state of Washington was still treating me and is still treating me as an 8-year-old and is infantilizing me. Every day I've had to produce out live streams of myself creating pedagogical illustratives, utilizing sophisticated large words, demonstrating computer science, art, animations, programming, AI, talking to tech service, comedy at its most. My goodness, I'm hilarious. But then again, I do come from a comedy entertainment background of being a table games dealer. I have been physically recovering and neurologically recovering from all of this. It gave me pharmacological analgesia, and what that means is I couldn't feel vastly the full totality of my body. The understanding of pressure, pain, sensory processing completely went away. There were other different types of physical pains, and it was realistically, and still is to a degree, knowledge-based of what that pain is, and so the body reacts because I wasn't born with it. It's just pharmacological. On November 1st, 2024, the MIST wraparound program of all those agencies of BHR, Columbia Wellness, and sorts, called me up in an emergency a couple days prior to moving me to Ocean Shores, Washington. A couple days prior to that, maybe a week, I had informed all of them that I had been going up to the community college and speaking with math professors and teachers about being integrated into a 4-year college by giving them demonstrations. I immediately met those challenges, and I was offered that opportunity to go to a 4-year college, considering I have only a GED. I also informed them that I was seeking to live in Seattle, Washington, so that I could seek legal recourse for this kidnapping and justice and restitution for what has been done to my body and all the dilapidated places in which I have been placed at and more. Those agencies panicked, and they told me to pack my stuff up, and they immediately moved me out to Ocean Shores, Washington on November 1st, 2024. I had been integrated with virtually all of those agencies and talked to them on a daily basis, seeing a bunch of their peer counselors and whatever they call themselves, their supervisors, nearly every day. And suddenly they were gone on nearly day one, except for one of them that checked on me for about 3 months. They took me away from all of my resources. My business collapsed. For the first time in my life, I had to take out loans from a bank. I've never had to take out loans from a bank, especially personal loans. Firstly, I know to always go with a credit union. And secondly, I know not to take out a personal loan with a bank. But I had to for food. And I've never had to do that before. And even during this process of kidnapping, I have been able to earn and acquire money to be able to pay for food. They told me this is my forever home and that I deserve this for all the hard work that I put in, for saving the group of children, for saving that lady at Paws of Grace Harbor. I had no memory of ever being in Ocean Shores, Washington. I would never find myself in Ocean Shores, Washington. I would never move out to the ocean. I'm a very desert person. I've mostly lived in Nevada and California nearly almost all of my life. This all started because my roommate, my really great friend, gave me what she claimed to be was a muscle relaxer that turned out to be one of those SSRIs that she had been taking. I didn't know what those were. I'm not a drug person. I had never heard of those before. I didn't know that she was going through Alzheimer's, and they were scared of getting in trouble for her to go into a home. And honestly, I should have just gone to a hospital because I got placed into a trap house, and now my body is destroyed, my face is everywhere, my image is crippled, my finances are crippled, and I'm placed in some god-awful, dilapidated hotel where I am being abused, and I am in a very dangerous city and a very dangerous environment that is highly transphobic. And I say dangerous because I've never wanted to be a trans female in my life. I have never known what that is in my life. I never asked for it nor required it. In fact, my family and friends and employers would know me as one of the most manliest men ever. And having a very verbose base and structure and just overall persona. They had never seen me wear colors like pinks or purples. Mostly I wore whites, blues, and blacks and grays, and for the vast majority of my life, I wore steel-toe boots or shoes as a means of structuring my body from being a quadriplegic. I spent a long time structuring my body to be healthy, learning yoga, even more gymnastics, taking on even more physicalities of construction. Anything that was posed as a challenge to be hard to do, I met that challenge. I went free climbing, rock climbing, biking, motorcycling, adventuring, a lot of adventuring in my life. My goodness, I've gone on a lot of trips. To like the OK Corral, the Grand Canyon, Red Rock, Mount St. Helens, and more. And so I've always kept my body in this very physical, pure condition to where I barely have ever taken aspirin or Tylenol or gotten a flu shot. Those seem to be accidental when I get like heat exhaustion from working out at a farm in California or Las Vegas. It happens to a lot of people. But this has been a nightmare of physical recovery that I've never had to go through before. I've had to relearn to walk for the third time all over again, having to repair my eyesight, the damage to my toes, my skin, my hair, my gorgeous teeth that were purely white. I'm not a drug addict. I've never been a drug addict. And I have a very rare form of hyperthymesia where I can't forget anything. And a very rare form of ataraxia where I'm incredibly chill all the time. And I've been pretty chill throughout all of this. And it scares me because, as I said, I've never wanted to be a transgender female. Yet this city is hating on me for being a transgender female. And they weren't treating me that way in Aberdeen or Hoquiam. In fact, they were giving me a lot of things and treating me really nicely. It's just that the issue is that I was kidnapped, drugged, and placed in a bunch of seedy places and forced to have to take to social media, create a business as a means of getting a lot of attention to be, taken out of the city so that I can go seek legal recourse because clearly a wrong has been done. And it sickens me because I'm out here and they shortchanged me. There's no sound signals. There's no appropriateness. It's very scary out here. I've been hit with rocks, cars. I don't get to go to a hair salon anymore, have my eyebrows taken care of. Like, I was, things were looking up very well. I built a huge amount of resources, and I was ready to go to Seattle to produce a lot of legal work and seek a lot of legal assistance from the LGBTQ community out there. And instead, what they did was they threw me out here in Ocean Shores, Washington, at the very last hotel on the left, like some horror movie. They even put me on top of washer and dryers. I've always lived in houses, condos, large acreage, large apartments. If I ever lived in a trailer, it was always premium double wides on a lot of acres. I come from a well-off background. My family was well-off. I had never cared about money. When I went into that clinic, I had already thousands of dollars. I already had money. I had good credit. I had just bought a phone from Verizon and a watch from Verizon, and I think like a couple of other things from Verizon and some other places because of all the money that I was acquiring even more. It's one of those things that I've always been able to do as somebody that professionally has worked. I'm able to go to any career or job and do that career or job and earn money. There's never been a problem about that. And so when I walked up to that crisis clinic, I was professionally dressed. I had money on me. I had a brand new cell phone, brand new earbuds, brand new watch that I could talk into. It was the first Samsung Galaxy watch. I had just gotten the first edition of that. Got a premium discount for being one of the first people to get it. And suddenly now my employment's taken from me, devices taken from me, life is crippled. They didn't give me an attorney. They didn't give me a judge. A peer counselor and 2 med nurses kidnapped me and kept me in a crisis clinic. And their peer counselor volunteers and their med nurses kept me in there for 5.5 months. They took away my identity. They drove me over to the DMV and they forced me to change my ID eventually over to female to match my clothing attire. They thought that it would be more appropriate. I've done everything that I've been told by my kidnappers and I don't know what I've done wrong. In January of 2018, I was kidnapped. I am 42 years old. That is a USC 42, 1983. I was born 8/18, 1983. My name is Stephen Owens. The state of Washington has been calling me Lovely Rhythmic Melody, forcing me to have to also call myself that on the internet, and I have woken up to having to take care of social media businesses and food resources. 2 cats that have brought me out of amnesia, which is interesting. Those peer counselors, their agencies, forced me to go to Positive Grace Harbor, the volunteer. By force, I mean every time that they want me to commit to an action of going to one of these places or producing art or doing work for them, they threaten me with the idea of a DCR and more medication. I beg to them, no, I can't take any more of their drugs. I'm already throwing up so much and blood is coming out in places. I experienced Bell's palsy quite a bit throughout all of this, too. So I got 2 kitty cats right before I saved that lady. And throughout all of this process of working for these cats to protect them and provide them, especially being out here, because back in Aberdeen and Hoquiam, my kitty cats became pretty famous and popular. We integrated with other famous kitty cat artists and presenters through their live streams and collaborated. And that's what helped boost up our views and give us even more names on Reddit, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Discord, Snapchat, my own websites, all of which were all business platform accounts. And I treated them as royalty, as I still do now, getting them children's toys, providing them with the best of care and love, producing commercial videos. They had never left my body pretty much since I got them, unless I went to the store or went to go volunteer somewhere. And being here in Ocean Shores, Washington, without any resources has caused us to lose the items that we were once getting, lose the amount of money that we were once making, going into debt, and having to eventually, for the first time in my life, eat out of a McDonald's garbage can in June of 2025. They promised me that I would not have to deal with any landlords or employees because of the last dilapidated places that they had placed me at, which were a considerable amount of places that they placed me. But instead, they placed me next to employees to the right of me. Below me is the office and the washer and dryers for the hotel. And I think employees live off to the left of me of 4 balconies that can see me. And so I'm surrounded by employees all day long, and I am stuck in this apartment, and I don't get to leave. Back in Aberdeen and Hoquiam, people knew me famously as going out every day, walking, around for hours, attempting to regain my equilibrium, videotaping, going and integrating with businesses, comedy, jokes, singing, having fun with people. Most of the days were great out in Aberdeen, Washington. It was the dilapidated places that they were placing me at, and the drugs and the abuse that they were providing to me. Aberdeen and Hoquiam were treating me quite fine in terms of Walmart and Safeway and printing places, the library, going to domestic violence center, the More Right group, over to the food banks was never an issue. Going to the mission to say hi to people was never an issue. I got adventurous and took pictures and video of everything, including the mayor, went to City Hall, went underneath the bridges, went over to the Kurt Cobain places of memorabilia, walked out Petland Cemetery. People got to know me over all of this, and eventually I was signing autographs, and it got built up within just about an 8-month period, and it started with live streaming my art and my kitty cats, and then eventually we progressed on April 1st, 2024, and that's when we started making most of our views and followers. And so we used to go out every single day. I would talk about smelling fresh air. I would videotape the water and the geese. I met a lot of individuals. Like this one time, this bus that I was on, I got off and it crashed off a bridge because the driver had a heart attack, unfortunately. I think he was okay, fortunately. And a group of people gaggled around, and I met a group of them, and two of us, myself and this other lady, she ended up being this rich lady, went off and we got soda and like cheeseburgers and stuff and went to Safeway, and she became one of my followers on the internet, and we had a great time. But out here it's been the absolute opposite. Out there I was able to walk around with my phone to see where everything is, and people love to be filmed. They loved it. It was gorgeous as long as it wasn't on government facility. Even then, sometimes like I went to Border Patrol to attempt to become a language translator because of all the languages I was learning, and so I took a picture while I was there. And sometimes in DSHS they allow me to take pictures while I'm there, and in their employment center where I go to just talk to people. But now I'm not there, and I met a lot of people out there, like one of the workers, Penny from Safeway, who would work the self-checkout center, and I would tip her a quarter or two every single time, every day, so that others would be able to purchase their bags, and we would converse for a few minutes. But out here, it's not like that. I don't get to use my phone. I don't get to look around. They don't allow me to have my purse inside the stores. I used to be able to go to Goodwill and get great deals on dresses, go to Walmart to get great deals on items because the employees loved me there. And I used to work for that Walmart. In fact, I helped build the Super Walmart there and over in Port Angeles. But nevertheless, I was always going around shopping with others or myself for female clothing, dresses, and they loved it. I became like this icon of some transgender female that they adorned to this, like this thing that was bringing some sort of like renaissance for them or something. I had to keep saying, I'm just a person. I'm just a person. I'm just a person. And all of my live streams reflect that. And but I get out here and immediately it's the opposite, and I get rocks thrown at me, cars are hitting me, and that didn't happen in Aberdeen. In Aberdeen, I was able to walk down the street at 3 a.m. to go to a 7-Eleven and get some food and talk to people standing outside a 7-Eleven because that's who I am, and I come from Vegas and I was hungry, you know what I mean? Like, but out here, that's not stuff that could be done, and so I'm scared, I'm terrified, and I just have to put this out here. That hi, my name is Stephen Owens, and I'm a kidnap victim. Never wanted to be a transgender female, chemically castrated now, visually impaired, I've been tortured and abused, and it's never been resolved. And have been begging for somebody to do something because it just doesn't make any sense for a person with my well-off background and my body type to be treated this way without any judge, any attorney of any kind. Since 2018, for what amounted to a single pill from a roommate